My name's Ariel, and I live in Georgia, not too far from the Alabama state line. A few summers back, I took a trip to a small town in Alabama for a 4th of July cookout hosted by my college friend, Isabel. It was one of those classic backyard get-togethers. Paper plates, off-brand fireworks, and more food than anyone could finish. Honestly, it turned out to be one of the best nights I'd had in a long time. The vibe was great. Good people, positive energy, kids darting around with sparklers lighting up the yard. You know the kind of night. I didn't head out until a little after 10, which, thinking back now, was probably my first mistake. Once the sun sets out there, that part of the state gets real quiet, like too quiet. The drive back was a little over 2 hours, mostly along back roads, long, empty stretches of narrow 2-lane highways surrounded by dense tree lines on both sides. Every so often, I'd pass an old farmhouse or a small country church with a gravel parking lot. But for the most part, it was just me, the road, and endless darkness. I had the music playing low, still riding the high from the party. But I won't lie, there was something about driving through places like that at night that gets under my skin, even when there's no real reason to be afraid. I've always been somewhat scared of the dark, so I bet that plays into it a little too. About 30 minutes in, I noticed a pair of headlights in my rearview mirror. At first, I didn't think much of it. I figured someone else had just hopped onto the same back road. But the longer it stayed there, the more I started to pay attention. It was a gray Nissan Altima. Nothing unusual, except the bottom half of the car looked like it had been driving through mud. I could see it clearly any time we passed one of those overhead lights at a small crossing. Even still, that wasn't that weird on its own. But after a while, I realized, no matter how much I speed up or slowed down, that car matched me exactly. At first, I thought it might have been just a coincidence, so I speed up a little, maybe 5 to 10 miles an hour, over what I was doing before. But the Altima did the same, so I instead tapped my brakes and let myself drift well below the limit. Again, same results. The distance between us never changed. Now keep in mind, on roads like that, people pass each other all the time. It's not even illegal in most spots. I moved slightly to the right a couple times to make it obvious that I was giving the space they needed if they want to go around. But they didn't. They just stayed exactly where they were, about 6 or 7 car lengths back. That's when I decided to test them. There was a random left turn coming up. It was what looked like a little residential road with maybe 4 houses scattered on either side. I took the turn with no hesitation. I wanted to get as far away from that car as possible. But about 10 seconds later, the car actually turned off and made the same left turn in the middle of nowhere. There was about a 0% chance they belonged on that road. At that point, I knew for a fact they were following me. It wasn't even up for debate anymore. I got this really sick feeling in my gut, like I was in genuine danger. For all I knew, I probably was. By then, my heart was beating through my chest, the same way it would if someone had a gun to my head. I don't know why, but that's the easiest analogy I can think of. I just felt so helpless out there in the middle of nowhere. I had no idea what that person wanted or why they were locked onto me. But none of the reasons I could think of did anything but terrify me. I just wanted to get somewhere safe and somewhere public with lights and people. As if on cue, I heard that god-awful chime that indicates a near-empty gas tank. I swear to God, I've never felt so powerless. My car's old. It's a 2012 Corolla that's been through more than its fair share of problems. Sometimes the gas light gives me 20 miles. Sometimes I'm lucky to get 10. And out there, in that part of the state, there's not exactly a gas station on every corner. I pulled out my phone and looked up the nearest 24-hour spot. It was over 8 miles away. I didn't know if I'd make it, but I didn't have a choice. I wasn't about to pull over, not with that car still telling me. I thought about calling the police, but I felt like it would have been a waste of time, so far out in the middle of nothingness. Cops out there take years to arrive anywhere, and there was part of me that felt like calling the police would make the danger more real. I know how irrational that sounds, and I feel pretty embarrassed even writing that down. But I'm just trying to be as honest as possible about how I felt. The gas needle dropped to empty a couple minutes later. Not just low, empty. I tried to stay calm, but I could feel myself starting to spiral. Every little sound of the car felt louder. The road felt longer. But first, did you know that 98% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? That means you. And yes, I am speaking specifically to you. Probably aren't. So now would be a great time to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Anyhow, I felt stupid for being so powerless, but I didn't know what to do to change that. I knew I wasn't going to make it to the gas station. Scenarios started flashing through my head about what would happen once my car ran out of gas. But by some miracle, I finally spotted the glow of the gas station sign up ahead. I almost cried, to be completely honest with you. I took the turn hard and pulled into the lot in one quick motion to give myself some time to get out of the car and book it inside. And that's exactly what I did. I jumped out and ran inside, barely shutting my car door behind me. From inside, I could see the Altima through the window. It slowed to a stop at the edge of the lot and sat there for maybe 10 seconds with the engine still running. No one got out, though. It was almost like whoever was inside was debating whether to continue pursuing me or not. And then, out of nowhere, it peeled off. Fast, it disappeared back down the road we had come from. I told the gas station guy what happened, and he offered to call the police for me. Even after talking to the police, I still felt very unsettled. I know it's not the scariest thing to have happened to someone, but there's no explanation for what happened to me that doesn't involve whoever was driving that car having sinister intentions. And that feeling of pure fear, I hope I never have to experience that ever again. I made it home and told myself I'd never drive along rural back roads in the middle of the night ever again. The story doesn't end there, though. A few weeks later, something happened that made my stomach drop all over again. I was sitting at home watching the news one evening, just background noise really, when a segment came on about two men suspected of armed robbery, attempted murder, and a bunch of other things in rural Alabama. They showed a blurry still from a security camera that mentioned that authorities believed he had fled in a stolen gray Nissan Altima, last seen headed east. When I heard that, I just froze up. That's who had been following me. I knew it in my gut. There was no way to prove it was the same person who followed me that night, but I'm telling you, I felt it. The timing lined up, the location lined up, and the description of the car was basically identical. I immediately told my story to the police, And that's when it really all hit me. My own stupidity could have prevented two extremely dangerous men from being caught. I will never forgive myself for not calling the police sooner, and it's something I actually think about pretty often. I never got an update from the police, and I never heard anything about the incident on the news. If anything ever changes, I'll send an update. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing video. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. All right, that's it for today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.